Hello, this activity is all about timesing by 9. So it's not just the 9 times table, it's making discoveries about the number 9 and all the things that, some magical patterns, not magical because it's maths, but it's amazing. It's magical things that occur naturally in our world. So hello everyone, my name is Caroline from Bubbling Maths, and I'm presenting activities that are made by AIMSEC on the Aiming High website. The link to this activity is in the description somewhere. And as I say, today is all about knives. Now, AIMSEC, just very quickly to let you know, is effectively helping children in disadvantaged communities in Africa and rural communities so that they can have a better education, to give them a better chance to have a choice in life, to choose to do what they want to do. If that's stay in their village, perfect. If that is to go to university, get a degree, become an engineer, they'll have that opportunity, get a PhD, or simply to live in a different place, or just do whatever they dream about doing and to be able to make that happen. And that's done through education. So AIMSEC is helping them and we're helping AIMSEC. So it's win, 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 win. And the more activities you do, that also the other people that watch these are the teachers that dedicate their lives to teaching these people. So thank you so much for doing that. And all of you out there that do these activities, please send in your pictures. You can join the Making Maths Fun for Kids of All Ages group on Facebook. That's a really great place to send in your pictures because it's all in one place. And let's get started. The number 9, the magical number 9. Now, let's see. I opened everything up. I apologize for being late. Normally I start at 9 London time, and Zoom just wasn't having any of it, I'm afraid. So managed to persuade Zoom, found a way. And now just what I realized I didn't have open is the activity. The activity, here it is. And what I'll probably do is just go ahead and share the screen so that you can see it for yourself. Let me see. Yeah, here we go. So now, there is that. Now, how do I share the screen? I'm an electronic engineer. You'd think I'd be good at this sort of thing. Share screen. I'm not. Coordination is something that is an area of development for me. No, not back to meeting. I've shared the screen. Now that one. Yes, 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 yes. Right, here it is, number 9. 9 times 9. So, can you see those numbers? I'm just going to kind of zoom past that because there's some patterns there. And I'm going to let you look at that worksheet yourselves, okay? But I don't know if you've noticed there's some things going on here. If you look at that activity there, this is the worksheet that is at the beginning of the activity. And it's just stuff for you to play through and explore through. And we're going to, so you want to come back to that. So download the activity, and you don't need to. Now, I've actually had to zoom off to Spain to be with my grandson. So I'm babysitting, and basically I am a single mother with a 5-year-old at the moment, essentially. So everything's a little bit flexible. One of the things is I don't have a printer. So I've always told you that if you don't have a printer, don't worry, you can do it by hand. Well, guess what? I've spent a while before the live preparing. Oh, I remember this has a manual focus, doesn't it? I remember that now. I'm using some different technology as well. So I've prepared them loads of sheets like this, and that's what you want to do for handwritten, hand cut out. I mean, I have a guillotine at home as well. So right now, that was on the little it's a bitty thing. You had to look at me over here. Hello. Right, here we go. So here's And here's, oh yes, and in the activity, you can print that out and cut it out. I wrote it out and cut it up. So what you can do with this is, the idea is to, maybe if you've got at least 2 people at home, different people do different problems, and then you can put them back together, back in this order. It's a nicer activity if you cut it up, find out the answers to, so it's what, in this case, 1 times 9 plus something equals 11. You might be able to do that one quite quickly. So what's the something? What's the question mark? The question mark equals 11, so you put the 11 here. Not 11, what's missing? 1 times 9 plus something. So 9 ones is 9 plus something to make it 11, and that number would go here. And what we're looking for is a pattern. So what we could do is everybody have a different number. If you've got only 2 people at home, then 2 people. If you've got 5 people at home, then 5 people. If there's a whole class, then you could use your imagination, do different ways of doing it. Though, yeah. So we're going to come back to early years at 10 o'clock. In 27 minutes, we'll be doing the early year activity. In the meantime, because this is late, I'm just going to go very quickly. If I can, you'll see me doing it, which is interesting when I do that. Not that necessarily okay. Going to do, watch party. Because we're late, especially since we're late, I really want to do the watch party today, because there'll be people out there that probably have assumed that we're not going to do the live, and it's not true, we are doing the live. So this way it'll let them know, hopefully, at least the ones in, there are other things we could do the live in other groups. That's interesting. Okay, that live's going. I'm going to get back to this for you now. And that's not it, it's over here. There we go. Now, so, up here we go. Right, so we're starting with upper primary, so 7, 8-year-olds, and working as a group, or 2 of you. If there's only 2 of you, then the 2 of you do it together. So we've got the question, we saw that at the beginning. What do you notice about the calculations in the picture? Now, before you actually do that, I just realised the activity. I'm only going to skim over this, because that's basically what you're going to be doing with this. You're going to be finding, I want to cover those numbers up, but I can't, so I'm going to zoom down. You've got to find out what those missing numbers are and put them in, and then put them in order, and then go back and answer those questions. Okay, and then do these. 100 million times 9. Are you kidding? But wait, is that so hard to do? Now this is an interesting one for place value. Make sure you know where your numbers are, how much they are worth. So we are timesing 9. We've got 9 of them. There's 9 of them. What is it that we're timesing? It's 100 million. So we've got 9 of them. Let's say we had now 100 million. It's a lot. 100 million scissors. Let's say we had 100 million scissors. And then we said we had an order for, we wanted a lot more. We needed more. We needed 9 times that many. So we have to go back to the factory and say, we want 100 million scissors, but we need more. We need 9 times 100 million scissors. So imagine there was a big warehouse full of boxes full of 100 million scissors. We'd need 9 warehouses full of 100 million scissors. That's a lot of scissors. So do that with all of those and find the answers, and then we're going to add them all together. They're all added together there, and then do that times 9 and see what the answer is. So that's been, if you just double check Tony writes these, I don't. Double check that Tony's got that she's added those up correctly, and then do that times 9. There you go. So to play the game, there we go. To play the game, here's the instructions. To play the game, cut out the strips, print it out or write it out like I've done, cut out the strips, mix them up. So this is what I've said. So now we've got better instructions than mine. And then fill in the answer after the question mark. And then arrange the strips in the order, in the original order. So arrange the strips by the smallest number at the top and the largest number at the bottom. And then talk about how the pattern happens. There is a pattern. There are various patterns. There's more than one pattern on there. And why? Why do you think that the patterns are happening? So that's your job. And the questions that you'll ask, and they're on here, so you can have a look. You don't have to remember. Is how do the multiples of 9 appear in the calculations? So look and see where things at the time that are multiples of 9. So 9 times 2, 9 times 3, 9 times 5. I don't know what they are because I haven't played the game yet. But look, how do the multiples of 9 appear in the calculations? And how do the multiples of 9 appear in the patterns? And then just talk about what you notice. It's beautiful. It's a real thing of beauty here. And can you explain it? What explanation can you think of to explain what's happening here? Right, so there is a solution. We're not going to look at it. There you go. Boom, we zoomed. We did a zoom. Now, this is an activity that's perfectly good for upper secondary, as well as, I'm going to highlight that if I can, yes. Upper secondary is basically all ages. This is a very, very, very solid, low threshold, high ceiling activity. So everyone can get involved in doing it. And I'm going to be working with Leo, who's 5, and together I'm going to work out the numbers at this end. I'm going to let him guess one of them, 1 or 2 of them. And then the rest I'll work out, but then Leo will be organizing them. We'll do that together. He's 5 and we'll be sorting them out. Not right now, we'll do it later. So it's perfectly feasible for younger, early primary as well. And go zoom. Why do it? You get lots of practice doing calculations, and it really reinforces the concept of place value. Please do use examples like 9 warehouses full of 100 million scissors each, I think it was. Just get your young learner to imagine what the warehouse is going to be full of. It's a big number. First of all, you've got to imagine that many things in the warehouse or in the box, and then you've got multiples of that. And that really helps with the place value. That's one way of helping with the place value. So reinforcing place value, which is one of the sticking points. It can, and once you've used it a bunch of times, it unsticks, and it's like, then it's just normal. It's like, well, of course it's 100 million. It's a lot to imagine, but it's 100 million. It's not just a 1 and lots of zeros, which means nothing. It's just a 1 and lots of zeros. And this is the connections that we're looking at making. The pattern is pleasing. Maths makes patterns. Maths is pleasing to me. I see the pattern is pleasing. My brain says, yup, maths is pleasing. And it's pleasing in numbers, it's pleasing in shapes, it's pleasing in so many different ways. And explaining why the pattern occurs develops the learner's logical reasoning number sets. I don't think there's any more pictures here, so I'm just going to make my head big so that you're not looking at a, did I do that correctly? Right, now I'm going to continue looking at the sheet and just talk to you, so I've got a big head and not a little one. Okay, so, and the calculations can be done, the explaining why the patterns occurs develops the learner's logical reasoning. So having to talk about it, having to think about it, and getting engaged in the activity. And it really helps with number sense, place value, and just having a real feel for numbers. And it can cause a love for numbers, seeing patterns in numbers, seeing the not mystical magic, the natural magic that occurs in our world. It is magical. Our world is magical, and numbers do magical things, and they occur naturally. It's just magical. And the calculations can be done by multiplying 9 for each first line and then doing the additions, or doing the whole calculation 9 by 9. So you can do it by adding or by doing actual multiplications on each line. So you can practice your long multiplication, or multiplying 9 by a long number, or you can add each row as you go. And maybe do it both ways and experiment with it. That would be my feeling on it. Do it both ways, so that then the learner can actually make choices and see which works well for them, and see the connections, the adding versus the multiplying, the answer's the same, and see the connections with the previous number. There's lots and lots and lots of connections that can be made by doing this activity. That means that the number sense will be much deeper. That number sense, I'm using that word, it means that you've got a sense of numbers, a feel for numbers, so that you don't look at numbers and go, because even if you're like me and numbers swim a little bit and they transpose, I'll see a 4 and think 7. They developed when I was a child, because there was no such thing as dyscalculia when I was a child. Nobody knew anything about it. I developed techniques, like I'll have to triple think of it 3 times, and then I keep looking at it, and sometimes it's still the wrong number, and that's okay. I'm quite happy with knowing that my answers, this is the beauty of the patterns. I know that if my pattern doesn't look right, then I know I've done something wrong, and then I can go back and really look at it with a fine-tooth comb, or get somebody else to look at it, so they spot the place where I wrote the wrong number in. And so in other words, it's, even if you have difficulties, you can still, you will still benefit hugely. And the more you're conscious and aware of the patterns, and you know what to expect, because the one thing it's really important for me, super important, is to do that initial estimate. Okay, so this is going to be in about this ballpark, and it's going to look something like this. That is critical for me, because if I don't do that beforehand, because I make those little mistakes, then I won't know if the number I end up with is more or less right. Whereas if I know if it's more or less right, chances are I've done it all right. But when it's completely wrong, I'm like, okay, right, I've done it. It's happened again. Let's go and have a look. And that's all it's about. It's about checks and balances. It's like accounting, really. It's just like accounting. You double check on yourself all the time. And so it can be structured for everyone in class. So, it can be a game for a whole class as well. So it's just, you can read that for yourself if you want to do it with the group. It doesn't have to be a class. It can be a group. It can be an activity. It can be activity on Zoom. If you're do Scouts lead or anything like that, these activities can be done by individuals in different places, and you can just all come together and send in your different answers. And learning objectives to practice multiplication, calculations, solving equations, even, because we've got that question mark, remember? And then develop visualization, logical reasoning, number sense, that magical number sense, and reinforce understanding of the concept of place value. Place value is huge in this one, it really is. And it's because there are such big numbers. And then you come back to 1, 10, and 100, and it's like, well, obviously, you know, they're smaller numbers, and getting that sense, because that first understanding the difference in 1, 10, and 100 is the way you start, 1 and 10. But then you go to big numbers, you come back down to the little ones, you're like, well, duh, of course it's right. And so in doing this, you can practice spotting patterns. That's what I want you to do, is spot patterns, find patterns. Wherever you go with the bubbly maths, oops, I found the maths. With aim sex, just finding maths, just maths being part of your life. Maths is part of your life. It's there already. Let's enjoy it. Let's notice it. And it's the explaining why the patterns occur is really important, because it's all part of problem solving. It's all part of any problem that you have in life, whether it's in a one that's given to you by a teacher, or whether it's the problem like we had this morning. Leo and I had a problem. For the next session, we needed paint. Well, we only had a certain amount of time. We only found out we only thought about it. Well, I wasn't going to do it. I was going to say, well, we'll just do it without the paint. And then Tony said, oh, please use paint. Like, oh, you know what? It will be so much better for the next live. So guys, hand paint for the did I mention that last night? I think I did. We're going to do hand painting. So we had to work out, we had a problem. And the more problems that you practice solving as a young learner, the better you get at solving problems as an adult. So problem solving is super important. And what we had to do is we had to work out, shop opened at 9, it takes a long time to get to the shop, and then you've got to go through the shop. So we were actually late starting this one anyway, and then it didn't work. So we're like, okay, we've been given a reprieve because Zoom didn't work. But we had to work out how to do it. And Leo had helped me, and we did it together. And then when we got there was no paint. So then we had to pivot and come up with another solution. We came up with jam. We're going to use strawberry and blackberry jams. We'll have red and black hands. And Leo's very rightly said, we can't use much, because he didn't say we want to waste it. He said, we don't want to waste it. He said, because I want to eat it. So problem solving, practicing problem solving as a child in school will help you in life, solving problems like how to get paint or not, what to do if you can't get paint. You've got that flexibility of mind, twisting, pivoting, so that you can find alternative solutions so you can still do the activity, in this case, do the early years session. So that will be with jam, and it's in 11 minutes. So I better get my skates on, because I'm going to have to put my swimming costume on, because chances are we're going to get sticky. So we'll be doing that outside. Now, that's it. So if you enjoy these lives, please do share the live, tell people about the group, Making Maths Fun for kids of all ages. And then there's the YouTube channels if you're on YouTube, and if you have friends that aren't on Facebook, they can go to the YouTube channels. These lives get uploaded into the YouTube channel. We redo them, and that's the Bubbly Maths YouTube channel. And then the one for AIMSEC, the Aiming High one, is called Maths Toys. And the links to those are in the pinned description at the pinned post at the top of the group. And I'm going to check, see if anybody came to join us on YouTube, not YouTube, the other one. Here we go. Looney Smil. Shall we dance? Jerry Riley, and Eddie Ferrero. That's all I see at the moment. And the 3 amazing, wonderful people who I happen to actually know them all. That's wonderful. And I love it. I love seeing people that in my life come and join us in the lives. So thank you very much. I'm now going to, hopefully, very discreetly, I'm getting better at this, finally, stop the live stream. I will see you, well, in 10 minutes, if you're joining us for the early years session. Leo and I are going to get sticky, and there's ants out there too. Oh. So it'll be fine. And thank you very much. See you, or if not, see you. We'll play this weekend, playing games. So tonight we'll be playing the first game, and it's a variation on rock, paper, scissors. How does it go? Rock, paper, scissors. So variation on that. We will be playing rock, paper, scissors, and we'll be playing the game, and as I say, a variation on it. So any age can play the game, and we'll just have lots of fun. Leo and I will be playing the game. And then Monday morning we'll do the maths around what we've been doing. All right. Thank you. See you later.